What's up, guys? This is Jay from Conversations with Jay. You know I gave it to you straight, no chase, and we're here at the Diddy trial, day 18. Let's do some rapid fire. One of the things that I thought was crazy, absolutely nuts, is the prosecution kept jumping around, in my opinion, to confuse the jury. By the way, she finally got the Turks that she wanted, okay? So we got to that part. She kept saying Turks, 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 Turks. And then he said, you know what? I don't need you to bother me about Turks and how I treat my other girls. It's over. This is exactly what happened. So Puff says, let's break up. Let's just be friends. I'm tired of you throwing in my face. I think this is the second time they broke up. Might be the first time. They broke up twice. He says, I'm tired of you throwing in my face. I'm tired of you getting jealous of the other women. The reason why he says, I'm tired of you throwing in my face is because she was like, oh, well, I do all these things for you, or I do the hotel nights for you, and you won't bring me to Turks. Okay. Then she sent him about 7 messages in a row, begging and pleading. You're breaking my heart. She goes, I get less of everything and less experience than all the other girls, and I do the most. Again, he says, let's just be friends. I'm tired of you being jealous. I'm tired of these long texts telling me what I am doing wrong. Let's just be friends. She goes, you're breaking my heart. She says it multiple times. And then she goes, you'll miss me. Then she goes, all you've ever asked me for, I've done. And then he goes, we'll miss each other. That was just before the afternoon break. And yeah, so he broke up with her. They got back together, I think 4 weeks later. And finally, he goes to her, let's go to Turks. I'll give you the birthday that you deserve, blah, blah. Again, like just sweet talking this. And then giving her what she wants and finally telling her what she wants to hear. It's manipulation, don't get me wrong, but this is really hard to reconcile trafficking. Not to mention that trafficking is you're making money from it usually. Like usually you're getting money from trafficking something or somebody, right? You traffic something, you get money, right? This is the opposite. This guy is paying money. This is a square peg in a round circle, right? This is what they're trying to do. They're trying to fit a square peg in a round circle. Now you might be able to make the dots and connect the dots, but the government knows. The government knows that this is not it. They're trying to make it fit. And I'm seeing them try to make it fit, and them trying to confuse a jury was one of them. So they went to Turks, okay? They finally go to Turks, and they get to Miami first. They have a hotel night. She didn't want to do it. She did it. Then they get to Turks the next morning, okay? 2 days, just them. Everything she's ever wanted. Turks, paradise, 2 days, just them. And then I think Paul comes to Turks, and then again, the hotel night thing. Okay. Now, what they did that was interesting is, and it's hard for me to explain even because the prosecution really it messed me up. But basically, they said, read these text messages that you sent to Sly. And they're text messages asking Sly to come to Turks. These text messages were sent before they went to Turks. Okay, stay with me now. They asked her about this at the part of the story when they were already back from Turks. So they had to slip those messages in because the defense was going to use those messages, because what she said is she never went to Turks to go and have hotel nights. She went to Turks thinking it was just going to be them two. But if you were already texting Sly to come to Turks before you went to Turks, then that means that you did expect some sort of hotel night when you went there. So when they asked, why did you ask him to come to Turks if that's not what you were expecting? She actually said, I don't know. I don't know why. So it just goes to show that either they had an agreement that that's what was going to happen in Turks, or that she actually wanted that herself to happen in Turks, and she told him to come before she went there. She actually said, I think I wanted him to have a good time. Now, he didn't end up going. He didn't end up going because I think this is around COVID, and he wasn't vaccinated. So he didn't end up going. But the point that I'm making is they slipped that in. That event that happened before they went to Turks, they talked about it after they went to Turks. And then they talked about another, when she got back from Miami, another hotel night. So it kind of mixed up the jury and mixed up everything. But that was a slick move. And I think that's those techniques, stuff like that, stuff like showing the video over and over again, stuff like asking her every single detail about everything. How did the drugs make you feel? How did you feel when you had 3 dudes in a row? That stuff is really pulling on the heartstrings of the jury. and then also trying to confuse a jury, and then adding things like the bringing the package from one state to another, and the package had drugs in it. Those aren't the charges. It's not a RICO predicate. It's not any of the 5 charges he's charged with. So I don't even understand why it was even mentioned, because that confuses the jury to think, oh yeah, that's part of the criminal enterprise. But it's not. It's not one of the predicate acts, because those were transported for personal use. That's like a mule, but that's not drug trafficking, which is one of the predicate acts. So just a lot of stuff. Continue with the rapid fire. Bought her a nice bracelet. She threw it back at him. When they were in Turks, she threw it at him during a hotel night. Said, you only want me to SDs for you, and then stormed away out of the hotel, and they slept in different rooms. He didn't force her back in or anything. They just slept in different rooms. This is a lot, guys. He had a bunch of funny messages to her. I shouldn't say it's funny because it's not funny to her, but one of them, he was breaking up with her, but he sounded so like either drunk or on drugs or something. I'm sure that was embarrassing for him to re-listen to. There's just a bunch here, guys. So I'm gonna break it all down when I get back home or when I get back to my office. I hope this at least sped you guys up, and I hope this at least gave you guys more of a direct line towards the truth, as opposed to one side to the next side. Some of my bias is coming from looking at this as a logical juror, as opposed to looking at this as a victim or a lawyer or an abuser or something like that. So I'm trying to put myself in the seat of the juror, to use my brain and my logic to say what's really going on here, and how does all this work together to convict somebody on the charges that you're presenting in front of me. All right. You know what? For those of you guys who stuck around this long, I'm going to give this to you as straight as I can. If you are not a trial lawyer, because, oh my goodness, I keep asking, people ask me all over this courtroom, are you a lawyer? Are you a lawyer? Are you a lawyer? I know the law. Okay. If you are not a trial lawyer or something like that, to me, you're a glorified researcher. Okay. The thing is, I can research too. Okay. And I've represented myself in my own trials multiple times and have won multiple times in my own trials while representing myself. Okay. So I beat a real lawyer, because all that matters is that you need to understand the law. You need to understand the law in a particular case or situation or charge. That's what really matters. Okay. So you guys there, do not let anybody tell you that you are not a lawyer, so you don't have an opinion. If you have a brain, you can read the laws there. The law is not in some secret book that's in some secret mountain somewhere where we have to hike up to the top of it, and you can't do that unless you're a lawyer. Okay, the law, it's public, and we could all see. You can go in any public law library and go and read the law. You can read up on other cases. You can order transcripts yourself. You can go to trials yourself, like I've gone to trials myself that I wasn't a part of, that I just went to trials to learn. I take notes. I understand the law. I started this to help people be free thinkers. Do not let people bring you down or tell you you don't know what you're talking about just because you're quote unquote not qualified. Now, that doesn't mean that you know more than them. It just means that you're not stupid. Okay. That's going to be kind of the theme moving forward. And that's where I am. I am well versed in the laws that are surrounding this particular case and this particular trial. And that's why I sound like a lawyer. It sounds like I know what I'm talking about, because I studied all of the things around this particular case, this particular trial. Okay, guys. So I appreciate everybody sticking around if you stuck around this long. And I'll see you guys most days these upcoming weeks. All right. Peace. And don't forget, J-Con, Khanversations, straight shooter, no chaser.